Hello, everybody. Welcome to 321 Sportscast. Tracy Rheaume here. I'm with my man Mel Mitchell of 321 Workout. How you doing today, Mel?
I'm doing fine. And yourself, Tracy?
I'm staying busy, man. In these times, you know, we see the sunshine coming soon, but we're all being safe, doing our thing. Anyway, Mel, I want to jump right into it, man. I see you out here working hard with these young kids on a whole nother level. It hurts them. They're in a little bit of pain. What's the difference between 321 Workout and what you're doing with training versus what anybody else in Brevard County is doing?
I only can speak for 321. First of all, I don't try to compare myself to anybody else, but I will tell you, man, the plyometrics. I don't see a lot of people that's incorporating the plyometrics into their training program. And with that being said, you'll be very surprised what plyometrics can do to actually adding it in with the speed and agility on the other days.
I completely agree with that. Mindset is one thing. Some of these kids I see, they're hurting because you're putting them through a mental phase that they're not used to. But you, of all people, and for those that don't know you, you played in the NFL with the Saints and with the Patriots. Mm-hmm. So you know what the mental side of it takes, not just to go pro, but to be a Division II player or a Division I player. These kids are 14 and 15 and 16, so they're just learning. Mm-hmm. They have about a 4-year period here to get their body right and to get their mind right. What are you trying to build inside their mind aside from the physical side of things?
I'm trying to actually give them the things that, of course, we didn't have coming up. And like I said, right now, a guy that been to the top of the pinnacle, know what it takes. I'm actually teaching them how to persevere through things. Also with the perseverance, letting them know that each and every day that nothing's is given. We got to go and work for everything that we want. So I want them to have that attitude built in their mind frame of like, nothing's going to be given, but we got to work for it. And right now, we're actually putting in the time right now. So hopefully when the season actually presents itself, these kids will be ready to go, and I can just bop from high school to high school and enjoy myself of watching them perform.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Did you play for Coach Belichick?
Yes, sir. Had a chance to play with him 2006, 2008. Of course, on that 18-1 team that we actually let ourselves down in that Super Bowl.
I think my Giants beat you in that game. So Coach Belichick has a reputation for not being the funnest team to play for. We hear that. That's been on ESPN this week. Matter of fact, Tom Brady and Gronk are just saying, you know, it's hard. And you were on that team, so the hardest team of any sport, of any league, of anything in the world you played for. So you kind of know what it takes to get these kids ready. What is the driving force now that you're past your playing days? What motivates you to be out here and work with these kids? To see them succeed? Because you're just getting started. So 5 years down the road, you're going to be seeing some of these boys playing for Florida and Florida State and LSU. Does that motivate you to come out here day in and day out?
Yeah, as I made my transition back to Florida after being gone 21 years, it was a tough decision. But like I said, one thing I wanted to do when I came back, hit the ground running. I missed a lot of time. Been gone, like I said, for 21 years. So with that being said, my goal was once I hit the ground running to really provide the tools and the necessities for these kids to make sure that they're successful on the football field. And if I can actually provide it off the football field, then I was going to try to do it to the best of my ability. I'm not perfect, but I work real hard, diligent every day to make sure that these kids have what they need.
Off the field is what I have always thought is the factor that needs to be worked on the most here in Brevard County. We come from the same era. We come from the same thread of Rockledge. We know there's been so many great athletes, football, basketball, baseball, and I always thought the mentorship wasn't in place. So many kids that had the opportunity to go pro, and we know a lot of them, a lot of them didn't even make it to college because we didn't have, there's a lot of temptation. There's a lot of obstacles growing up around. We need people like you to show these kids that to make it to that level, it's not just being in shape. It's not just catching a ball and running. Off the field is just as hard, and you got to work on that. What advice would you give to any kid coming up in Brevard County to say, aside from your physical ability, mental, here's where you need to be in general?
Well, I'll make it short. Long story short, like I said, I was one of those guys that just didn't apply myself academically. So in 1998, once I graduated and went to West Kentucky, that was the first time in my life that something that I genuinely loved, which was actually football, was taken away from me. That made me then come up with that second option. That second option was I need to actually make sure I get a good college degree so I can fall back on, because athletic, these sports are not going to be here for the long haul. And with that being said, like I said, I put both of them together and I was able to balance it. And I went on to pros and actually finished up with my degree. And now I got a chance to actually use my degree as well as actually give back to the kids athletically.
Now, we've had some kids go pro from around here. And the cool thing is about the education side of it is if you make it to the pro, if you're that elite, that if you're fortunate enough, you don't get to choose when you retire. Unfortunately, it's a physical game of football, and injury is everybody's prone to it. You know, I think you made 6 or 7 or 8 years or so. That's pretty good. But some people, it might be 1 or 2 years. So you got to be ready upstairs.
Yep, have to be upstairs. A lot of people don't know, but having 7 major injuries, 7 major surgeries, and with that being said, is you have to be prepared mentally for life after football. And like I said, man, I couldn't picture myself doing anything better than what I'm doing now. This keeps me young. I get a chance to get out here and actually perform all these exercises and movements before my kids get out here, and then once they get out here, I'm ready to train them. So it's really been a blessing in disguise.
And I've seen you've had some of the other greats coming out here working with you, rallying, helping out. Yeah. James Folston, we know he's a big name in the community in terms of mentorship and his playing career. You know, he's been there and done it. First time you ever walked out of the NFL tunnel? First time you ever put the pads on in New Orleans? I don't know, was it a home game or an away game? But how did you feel when you walked out of that tunnel and realized that your dream, which 99% of us all dream to be a professional athlete, but we realize, man, it's got to be that elite that gets out there. How did you feel when you walked out of that tunnel?
Oh, man, wide-eyed, like I am now, wide-eyed. And like I said, man, when you say it's a blessing, it is a blessing. A lot of people don't understand it's below, and I won't get too deep into the figures, but I'll just say right now as we speak, your chances of making it to the NFL is below a 1%. So to be able to say that I fall in that 1% is a blessing and an honor at the same time. And like I said, I want to make sure that I'm actually installing some of these things in our kids to make sure that it's possible, but we got to put in the work to make sure that we actually leaving those doors open for it to be possible. Yeah.
Now, Mel, we won't take too much time tonight, but as we go on, I want to do another interview with you coming up, and I want you to really dig in on how you can mentor some of these kids that are Division I and pros. We got some, because they're there, but there's a lot of things that you know that we don't know that maybe you can help them. It could be financial, it could be who they let in their circle, it could be who their advisors are, it could be their family, and you might have some tips to really help them, or any other kid, or just the general public that wonders how all that goes down. So in another interview, we want to do that. Lastly, the last time when it became a reality and you knew that you had to retire from the NFL, emotionally, how did you feel when you realized that it's done? Because you can't go back once you're done, unless very few people do. But how did you feel? Was it devastating, or were you ready to say, time to take my education and move on to the next phase of life?
When I signed with New England back in 2006, I wanted to actually stay in Who Dat Nation, but I did want to be the highest paid special team player because I put up the numbers to deserve so. So unfortunately, I was unable to work those figures out with the Saints. So therefore, the Patriots made me in 2006 to 2008 the highest paid special team player in the league. But unfortunately, when I went there 06, I tore my left bicep, which actually had me out for the whole year. And then when I came back, I played the 2007 season, but I tore my bicep in the 2008 AFC Championship game at the end of the third quarter. So therefore, I didn't get a chance to play in that Super Bowl. So I basically had 2 major injuries back-to-back years up in New England. So that led to now Mel Mitchell is injury prone. So it was actually, and the way the NFL works, you already know, I can get someone cheaper than Mel Mitchell to run up and down a football field to do the things that Mel Mitchell was doing. That's how it works, and that comes along with part of the business. So therefore, I got labeled injury prone, and that's when I actually started realizing this was coming to an end, and I actually started using my education degree.
Well, Mel, you've been a special story for those of us who have known you. You didn't know it, but even when I was off in Dallas and I was living in Vegas, watching football with my buddies, that's my boy, man, Mel Mitchell. Put the Saints game. Why are we watching the Saints game? That's my boy. They would say, if he saw you, he would know you, Tracy. I'd be like, yeah, we go back to Rockledge, man. So everybody I know has a lot of pride in any kids that go out there and play college football, professional football. So you got so many people, and now it's great that you can come back and you can relay your tools, your trade, and be inspirational and motivational to these kids because they're learning from somebody that did it. You walked the footsteps of these streets and you were on these fields and you made it to the highest level. So we appreciate you giving back and looking forward to your success out here and developing these young kids, man.
Appreciate it, Tracy. Nice.
All right, so everybody, on behalf of Mel Mitchell with 321 Workout, I'm Tracy Rheaume with 321 Sportscast. Y'all stay tuned for more action. Thanks for tuning in.